what this relationship should look like. I think we're all humans and we have first names and we
Yeah.
go by
Absolutely.
titles are, I think oftentimes we attach too much importance to titles. So let's
Mm.
keep that down if we can.
Meshach, please at the nick of time. Can you start the recording at the nick of time?
Yes, yes. We are on. We are on. We are recording now. We are
Uh,
recording now.
quick point, since we have about 2 minutes more before time. If you think we need to take extra time to allow more people to join, please feel free to do that as well. Today's Saturday, so I have a bit of
Yeah.
wiggle room around my time.
Okay, that's great.
Uh, Hello, participants. Please, if we want to thank you for joining us, and we would love to request that you please turn off your camera so that we can enjoy ourselves better. You can turn off your camera, then mute yourself, so that we can have a better experience. So thank you. And please, we would love to inform you that you can drop in your question on your chat box, on the chat box right here, so that we can always access it. Then I want to also inform you that we are online, we are streaming live. We have the link there on the chat box. We are live on YouTube and I think on Facebook too. Then I think that would be great. And then sincerely, the hope is to increase our reach and even to get across to people who are not joining us here on Zoom. Okay, great. I think it's time now. Then okay, great. Thank you so much for joining us. We are currently live on the Nigerian Forestry Students and Graduate Students Roundtable. And then one of the core aim of this initiative is to encourage ourselves, even as foresters, to 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 build to help us build up more courage, to get more people on board, to help more people to get more interested in this cause. We don't want some other guys to experience some of those things we experienced when we were admitted as forestry students. And that's one of the ideas behind this initiative. And then big kudos to Meshach for being there and also for coming up with this idea. And in the coming months, in the coming years too, we hope we can increase our reach to various parts of the world and then helping people to become more relevant in the field of forestry as it is. Okay, right now, thank you so much. I am Olaoluwa Detula, and I'll be your host for this event. And I would like to introduce my co-host too. Meshach, could you please introduce yourself?
All right, I'm Mishak Adirele. Okay, I'll be your host also.
Okay, great. Um, right now, 1, 2, 3, go. So once again, thank you very much for joining us. We are pleased to have you. The first event we had 50 plus participants, and it was just like an introduction for us. And then this event is going to be a leverage, and it will be having a lot. And then we hope you can always join us when we call. Thank you. Right now, we have our guest is an important personality, a mentor to so many Nigerians, both uh, students of forestry and outside the field of forestry too. I would like to welcome, he's saying we should call him Julius now, but then let me go with the title. Dr. Julius, you are welcome.
Well, so thank you. Thank you, Olalua. Thank you, Mishak, and thank you everyone for joining today.
Thank you, sir.
It's okay to give a quick point there that participants, for us to have a very good experience, you need to mute your microphone and put your phone away from your computer. You know, if you're, I don't know, if you're opening two channels, you want to make sure, or if you're with your friend who is also listening, you have to stay with one device and maybe put the other device away. Otherwise, the echo and the feedback would interfere with the call quality or ability to hear each other. I want to start by simply saying, oh, and by the way, please turn off your video. Video certainly compromises the bandwidth, and we don't all have very good, strong internet connection. So it's better if you turn off your video so you don't impact the call experience for others. Okay, let's do this together. So I would like to start first by thanking Olalua, thanking Meshach, thanking Femi Wu. I'm not sure if he's on this call. We thought of this initiative and also saw it as a potential way to, I'd say, reinvigorate, their colleagues and also to inspire the next generation of professionals in forestry, and I think in all fields, actually. I'm assuming we can't take a poll, but I'm assuming that we have people from different backgrounds joining the call today. I also would like to recognize that we all, we probably all come from different angles of views and different persuasion levels, maybe even different interests. I hope that you can gain something out of a discussion today. Something that I would like to also check with Olalua on before I proceed is the structure. So Olalua, maybe you can articulate or at least bring the audience to speed on what the structure of this event is today so that everybody's fully aware of the sequence and what to expect, I guess, at the end of the session. Do you want to take about 1 minute to do that before I proceed?
Okay, great. Thank you so much, sir. Okay. All right. Like we've done, we've had the introduction. Then also, we'll be going to the major questions. Then after that, we take the question and answers from the participants. And a quick reminder, please, you can type in your questions on the chat box so that we can take them one after the other. Then after that, after the question and answer, then we have a share your thoughts segment. So Femi will be taking that immediately after the question and answer. We would like to take one or two views of the participant today. Then for now, I'm not going to say more than that. So Femi is currently online. Then we can take, we'll be taking that session. Then after that, we'll be having the presentation from IFSA. And then we most sincerely appreciate IFSA for the support they've given us today. They are providing the platform we are using today. I think that's a big kudos to them and for supporting this event. You know, when they heard Julius will be online with us today, they were excited because from history we learned you brought IFSA to Nigeria, and it's one thing we are really proud of. And big kudos to Alex Onatunji. Is the coordinator for IFSA Ayufro JTF, and he's really doing great. Thank you for your support, Alex. And then after that, we make announcements for our winners today. Yeah. And just as a quick reminder, we'll be giving out cash gifts to individuals here today, 5,000 Naira for 10 participants. And also, like you all have received the essay instructions, then by next week, we'll be announcing the winner of the essay contest, and then 10,000 Naira for 5 people. That is personal development scholarship. Then, but today, we begin at 5,000 Naira to 10 people, 10 participants. You know, we've started taking, people have started winning. yeah, we have our list already now. People have started winning. Now, yeah, I think that's great. So after that, if there's need to exceed the time a bit, we can always inform you. But then, I think we should set the ball rolling.
Okay. Well, so Thanks for that. Thanks for that, Ololua. So I'm just gonna get started by maybe referencing a few things. Oh, by the way, I understand that the picture quality from my hand may not be very um, crisp. It's about 7 a.m. or actually 8 a.m. right now. And it's about to rain as well. So it's cloudy outside. So excuse if you can't see me or if it gets dark. Trust me, I'm still here. So as long as you're hearing my voice, I hope that would do for now. So I think two things I'd like to start with to introduce myself. Okay, by the way, my name is Julius Adewoko. Um, Two things I'd like to talk about first is who I am and who I'm not. I think I should start with who I'm not. Number one is I'm not a motivational speaker. So I hope that you can all stay awake and not fall asleep when I'm talking. Um, I will try to I'll try to keep it as lively as I can. And maybe to also maybe speak to who I am. So I am someone like you. I'm someone from among you. I'm someone who probably relates with your struggles and challenges in a lot of ways. But also I'm someone that also us evolve together. Um, I think I should start with the fact that I started my journey in forestry with a personal inclination to just study forestry. I remember sitting for JAMB way back in 1999. I think towards the end of 1999, I enrolled for JAMB. And I had to select, the course. I never liked medicine. I mean, nothing in me appeals to medicine or makes medicine to appeal to me, but I wanted to also please my parents. So I remember selecting medicine as a first option, which I'm assuming a number of people too have done before. And I selected forestry as a second discipline, which is really what I would love to do. Turns out that yes, I was selected in forestry and I never made it into medicine in OAU. That's Obafemi Awolowo University for those who don't know OAU. And I got to Federal University of Technology, FUTA, secured admission, and I was shocked to see I would say, odd highs that is given to forestry. The kind of I would say very negative perception, very, very shallow, discouraging perception. I actually was shocked to realize that I was the only one in my entire set. I think it was a class of 22 people or so that chose forestry as a discipline. And all others were, basically, dumped into forestry because they couldn't make the cut or they were not accepted into, let's say, other disciplines. I don't know, engineering, agroeconomics, whatever other backgrounds they wanted to follow. So I was shell shocked by that reality, and that kind of propelled me towards a vision to redefine those outlook, this sort of perception. I knew that it was me swimming against the tides of the water. I knew that it was going to be a journey, more or less a journey of a lifetime. I knew that I had to start somewhere. I knew that first and foremost, I had to first prove that what I have and what I think is valid. Then I can maybe inspire a number of other people along as I demonstrate value and demonstrate simply the sensibility in what I think was a valuable profession, but it has been extremely stigmatized within the Nigerian society. So long story short was that I started out my 100 level with a big contradiction, a contradiction between what I feel inside and what I see outside. Essentially, I was held in tension between a sort of a conflicting ideals of a society that really stereotypes of discipline and actually favors a culture of intimidation and oppression. For those of you who relate with this, I'll break it down for you. I remember for those who are Yoruba, you would understand this. When I was in under level, we had nicknames on very derogatory names like Ashogbo, that's a security officer in the forest, or Begi Begi, that's somebody that carries wood around, or just think of the suite of names of derogatory names that people would kind of peddle around because they think that you're in a discipline that is for losers, in quote. So it was really, again, swimming against the tides for me to thrive in that kind of environment. So I definitely I decided that I would step forward with a resolution that I would keep trying to prove that there's value in this discipline, keep trying as though it's actually impossible to fill. So I think from that time to now, I'll just skip and spare you a lot of stories here. But from that time till now, I look back and I feel like it's been a journey that was worth it, and it's been a very valuable journey. Currently, I work with 3 organizations. If I could introduce myself this way, I work as an emerging technology advisor with Mercy Corps. Mercy Corps is an humanitarian organization, just like Red Cross. Actually, Mercy Corps and Red Cross are more or less in tandem with each other. Considered as the leading humanitarian organization in the US, and I think, again, a peer with Red Cross when it comes to international operations. Mercy Corps operates in 43 countries currently, I believe. And I also work with Biodiversity International and International Institute for Tropical Agriculture, which I think many of you would know, IIT for short. The headquarters is in Ibadan in Nigeria. So in IIT, I work as a consultant. I work as a geodata scientist and as a sort of a leader for digital innovation. I work across a couple of projects. One is focused on digital surveillance of disease in agricultural systems. Previously, I worked on a project that was funded by Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and it was focused on introducing digital innovation to maize production systems in Nigeria, in Ethiopia, and in Tanzania. I was in Kigali. I think up to last year I was in Kigali. Currently, I still work in Kigali, but now I just triage. I travel down to Kigali. The point being that I've had the privilege to work across several countries, work on diverse projects, work with people from different backgrounds. And this has been a very rewarding experience that really validates, remember, I'm trying to connect the dots here. It validates that the assumption of that 100-level student that there's truly a value in this discipline. And all I need to do is to get the recipes, the tool set that I need to also showcase this to everyone that I come across, anyone that I'm able to work with, or anyone that actually comes afterwards to ask the question, should I study forestry or should I just throw in the towel and move to a totally different sphere of endeavor? So I think with this quick introduction, I don't think it's quick. I think that's a long introduction, but I hope that it actually sets the scene for those of you who are connected right now, that there's been a journey, and hopefully you can truly believe anything I tell you during this chat. Hopefully some evidence speaks to your interest here. So with that, I think I should take a pause. This shouldn't be a monologue, by the way. I think it should be somewhat of a dialogue.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I'll put the pause
absolutely.
here and maybe allow Israel to also post question or make reflections on some of those things that I've quickly explained.
Okay, thank you, Julius. We are so grateful to have you, and thank you for that intro. And I hope someone is motivated through that. Yeah, great. So let's set the ball rolling. To the first question, Meshach, can we have that from you, please?
All right. Thank you very much, sir. Okay. Now, one of the things we can record from what you just said is the fact that you were exposed to opportunities. All right. You had information, and I believe that's one of the secrets to all this to the dots you were connecting for us. So that brings us to the first question: that what are the opportunities young graduates, like undergraduates and young graduates, are blinded to, like that they don't see that exist in forestry, and what do you advise them to do about it, assessing these future opportunities?
Okay, so thank you for that question, Ms. Shaq. I'll answer the question this way. For those of you who have, I guess gone through 100 level, 200 level, or 300 level, or those who are already graduated, who've already graduated from forestry. Forests in themselves, they speak to you about what what you should be doing, I think. Forests are so diverse. They serve multifunctional purposes. There are different angles to forestry as a discipline. Uh, you have the forest chemistry or wood chemistry, as I say. I remember back in the days. You have a
Yeah.
biochemical. You have the biochemical interaction, which of course lends credence to why people study the biochemistry of forest or even of forest product. You have the diversity that exists in the fauna, that's the animal and the plants that exist within forest. The point that I'm trying to drive home for you is that there are very many opportunities that we don't see in forestry in terms of how it connects with every other discipline, every other thing that you ever want to think about as your, let's say, natural inclination. I remember back in the days, and I'm gonna give specific points here, but I remember back in the days that I was going through a class on forest management, and I didn't understand. Well, when I entered into the class, I first didn't understand what that was about. But as I started to go through the lectures, I started to realize that this is not just about forest management. This is about organizational management. This is about leadership. This is about product and marketing and all of that. So the point is, I think in forestry, the first thing that students get blinded to is the possibilities in the discipline. And maybe this even wraps up lots of points. Yes, maybe I've oversimplified it. I think the first thing that you have to do, is that you have to let your mind fly and imagine the possibilities, the connection of forestry to every other discipline. And maybe to be more specific here, yes, you could go through all the classes and get all the grades of A's or B's or C's, whatever you want to get. But that's not just all that is required for you to succeed in the discipline, just like in every other discipline. You need the soft skills, you need your communication skills, you need your ability to be versatile across multiple frontiers of disciplines. You need to also understand, networking. All of those things becomes critical for you to succeed. You don't just need a certificate, but also you need certifications. So back in the days, I don't think I did this well, and maybe this is an advantage for those who are here. You can already start to think about certifications in forestry. It doesn't take you anything to spend extra time that you have to prepare for exams related to, let's say, forestry, exams that is related to digital tools. There's nothing that stops you from acquiring computer certifications, for example, in programming, computer certification in systems design, computer certifications in, let's say, just any other aspect of life. It could even be in communication. I've seen people who come from natural resources background. They're Cisco certified, they're Microsoft certified, and these people have gone to do great things for themselves. So the point is, I think a lot of times students become overly fixated on forestry as a discipline, but not also on the connectivity between forestry and every other thing that is happening in the world and in their world. Second thing, of course, will be service and leadership. So oftentimes we're inclined to think that we're coming to the university to get a certificate and that's about it. You are very wrong if you think like that. There's a lot more to life. You have to think of how you add value to your community, to your service, to your community, to your university, to your country actually, because that's really what would elevate your thinking about, okay, what else can we do to make this place better? Leadership, it's of course for your community, but also it's for you. To live life in a purpose-driven way, you really have to understand that you're accountable to some other people, and there's nothing that brings that out more than leadership. So your ability to put yourself in leadership position, no matter what it is, if you're going to be sweeping the floor across your department or your faculty, make sure that you're the leading sweeper. If you're going to be mopping the floor, make sure that you are the leading floor mopper, the best mopper, the best floor cleaner that the world has ever known. Make sure that you are. And I'm not going to belabor that point. I think one more point that I want to articulate relative to that question is your ability to diversify and expand your professional horizon. I think I've touched on this, but I cannot stress this enough. You really need to think about how every class relates to the world that you live in, how every class, how every, even the project you're doing, think about the bigger picture. How does it relate to every other thing? And I think these are critical things that we're often blinded to, that we don't see and discount our possibilities for professionals. I'll stop there so that you can take other questions.
All right, thank you,
Oh.
Julius. That sounds great and amazing. Right now, to the next question. How do we make ourselves flexible for success and perhaps switching from one career to another? Because one of those things we see in this part of the world is that, permit me to use that word, that there are uncertainties, and that's the truth. So how do we make ourselves flexible enough to switch from probably the career of forestry to another, or perhaps any field, any field? You might want to look at it from the forestry, switching from the forestry perspective, and also to help some of our participants who are not foresters who are currently online. How can we make switch from, make ourselves flexible to switch from one career to another?
Okay, so good question. I think I already started towing this line when I started talking about your versatility as a critical criteria for your success. Remember though, I'll pin this picture. I thought I'll mention this later, but I can say it right now. Remember that we are all, everyone here, I don't know how many people are on the call right now, but however many people are here, we're looking for one single thing. We're all trying to get to a single place. And that place is a center called success, okay? That's a center we're all striving to reach. Some people try to reach that center through medical sciences. Some people try to reach that through engineering. Some people try to reach that through, I don't know, geoinformatics, GIS, or whatever discipline you want to think about. So you shouldn't lose focus on that your goal is to succeed. And to get to that place, you know, that central place, of course, I think forestry is an option, yes, and there are other options along the way. You may have to navigate the pathway for connecting forestry to every other discipline. Actually, let me say this, just so you know, I think you all, and I think many people don't realize this. I realized this later, that you are truly, truly lucky to be in forestry, okay? This is not pep talk. You're lucky because forestry is your least cost pathway. In GIS, I have a geographic information expertise. I've acquired that along the way. And one of the things, actually you all do, I mean, you guys have used GPS on your phone some way or fashion. You've used the GPS on your phone. All of the routing that occurs from Google is based on least cost pathway algorithm. The least cost pathway, you know, shows them how you can get from point A to point B in the shortest time, because that's a cost. Sometimes it's money. Sometimes it's, of course, maybe the energy that it's going to take for you to get to that point from point A to point B. But the point here is that you're being in forestry puts you in the path, in the least cost pathway to get to a central place called success. So a few things you have to do, even though you are in this least cost pathway, is number one, you need to have a resolve to stand out, okay? Stand out in terms of do what others are not doing. The truth is that this is not a congregation of all forestry students in Nigeria. I'm sure there's just few people that really just wants to know a little bit more. So why don't you, I would suggest that you should do yourself that favor to make a resolution that you want to stand out by doing what others are not doing. Take exams that others are not doing. Take courses that others are not taking. Go for certifications that others are not going for. Think of conferences and you know, events that others are not thinking about. That's one of the ways you can broaden your horizon, broaden the way you actually see the discipline. That's number one. Number two is that your journey may not be linear, okay? I'm saying this because oftentimes people think that you go from forestry and you suddenly become this very successful person or this authority in the discipline of something that is respected in the society. It doesn't always work that way. And I'll tell you why I think so. It's from my own personal experience. Yes, I was very focused and very committed to forestry and anything that connects to forestry. But at some point, I remember during my master's degree, I received admission and assistantship for forest sciences. And my project, actually my advisor was working on a project that is focused on wood engineering. So my central project was on wood engineering. But guess what? I learned about GIS. I heard about GIS. I felt like it's something that clicked with me and resonated strongly. So I talked to my advisor and I said, can I enroll for this class, even though it's not the core focus of my degree pathway? And he said, yes. So essentially what happened was that I sat in the class, even though I was not formally enrolled for the class. I took every test, every exam, and I really emerged. I did well in the class, and that gave me the footing, because it was an introductory class to GIS, that gave me the footing or the requirement to step into advanced GIS classes. So this really helped to eventually guide me towards this path of, okay, there are other career options, even though I'm in forestry, but also I can add value in management. And I'm saying this, I'll give you a clearer picture here. So I've worked in a Fortune 500 company as a compliance advisor. Wow. The top company, well, of course, in the leagues of Chase, JP Morgan, in the leagues of Citi. I think we've managed about $600 billion client investment portfolio at Raymond James. I was working at headquarters. And guess what? I reflected on the forest management principles and skills that I'd garnered when I was an undergraduate student. Forest marketing, forest product marketing. These are critical skills. Actually, before that, just to kind of roll things back a little bit, I'm saying this so that you understand that this is more of practical insights, not just theories or vain talks out there, okay? I'm rolling the things back a little bit. As soon as I graduated from forestry, we were sitting for what they call aptitude tests, exams, recruitment exams with banks. That was at the time, I think it was around 2006. That was around the time that Nigerian banks were flourishing and actively recruiting. But of course, they wanted to recruit the best of the best. Based on the prevalent perception, the best of the best do not come from forestry. They come from engineering and School of Sciences and FUTA and all of that. But I wanted to distinguish myself, and I would take those aptitude exams. I remember I got a job offer from Access Bank. I got the offer letter. I eventually declined. Shortly before my master's degree, I got a job from Zenith Bank. I got the offer letter. I declined eventually. The point being that I see how my discipline connects with every other word. So I've successfully moved from this, interest in financial sector and all of that to a place where I'm leading project. I am working on digital innovation. I'm working on emerging technology and working with field teams in the humanitarian sector. You asked the question, right? How does forestry connect to all of us? Forestry does connect to every single dot of this, because forestry tells you about innovation, tells you about diversity, it tells you about management, it tells you about product differentiation, it tells you about the science of things. So the point is, you really have to have a resolve, and that's really the bottom line. Maybe there's even no other point. To stand out, I resolved to stand out and see how everything I was learning connects to every other thing out there. And that has really positioned me to kind of navigate this non-linear pathway towards a place of influence. And that's really what we all want to achieve, I think. Even though it's not about the money, get me right. It's about the influence, the impact that you're making, the value that you're adding. And that's really something to always fixate on. I think I'll stop there. I know we can talk about this, till the day break, but please let's move on to the next question, if that's okay for now.
All right, that's great. Thanks very much for that. At least one of the things I can pick here is you spoke about resolution that we should resolve, So that people should determine who they want to be and not allow whatever they've been going through in the past to determine them. And that success is not a linear journey. You need to go through many things and change some things in your life over time. All right. Now, the next question here is, students have good undergraduate research work. While we're in FUTA back then, I helped some people, do a few things in their project. And when I see those topics, they are good topics, and everything just there on the shelf. Why? Because they couldn't proceed with it, because if they are to do that same research at a big level, they will need funding and all. So how can, at undergraduate level, how can we connect to funding opportunities for research works? Because we always see that probably at master's, PhD, it's easier, but at undergraduate level, is there any possibility, or are there any possibilities for such?
Oh, goodness. So that's a tricky question, actually. And I think we're situating this question within a context of Nigeria. So I'll answer still everybody is in Nigeria. I think as an undergraduate, yeah, your research work can be quite compelling. Even maybe you have a very grand novel finding that you think is ready for the world, and maybe you need more funding to advance that. Breaking news is that it's hard to get funding as an undergraduate student, right? But you should also fixate not just on the moment, you should fixate on how you build things up. As I always say, you don't grow to becoming from a twig, that's a small little tree that is coming out of the seed, to a full tree overnight. I think the first thing you should do is to really internalize the big picture of your project and create a mental roadmap of what really do you want to achieve with what you're studying? What problem do you want to solve, okay? I would say actually you're right, by the way, Meshach. I think statistics shows, just to back up your claim here, statistics shows that I think 95% of every research, this is not just about undergraduate research, every research that is published, 95% of them ends up in what we call the publication graveyard. They don't lead to any change or transform a society. But the point is, maybe to your point about funding, I really think that you stand more chance, and I'll have to give you honest feedback here. I think you stand more chance of securing funding at the graduate level than at the undergraduate level. But your undergraduate level is a foundational block on which you build that prospect of funding at the graduate level. I know that there are scholarship opportunities from African Forest Forum. It's not always there, that's the truth. But I know there are opportunities occasionally. ITTO offers some scholarship as well. I know someone who has actually accessed such opportunities, someone like you actually. So I wouldn't close the doors on those possibilities. I think ultimately though, you should consider how your undergraduate research can inform your graduate research. And then you can use your undergraduate research to make a case for a scholarship like the Erasmus Mundus Scholarship, the Commonwealth Scholarship, the MasterCard Foundation Scholarship, and even oil company scholarships. I know Shell, Texaco, no, not Texaco. I think there are other oil companies that offer scholarship to undergraduate students to study at the graduate level. But of course, they want you to show the evidence of excellence. That's a lot of times that's often the bottom line criteria. And if your undergraduate research is very compelling indeed, I think you should do a couple of things to already to demonstrate the excellence of your research. Number one is, try to present it at a conference, right? Submit abstract to your advisor and say, oh, I see this conference and I've tried to prepare an abstract. Would you be able to look over it and tell me if this is a good one, I need this conference is good. Don't even worry about the funding in the first instance. I think provision always follow purpose. So if you would, take that kind of step, then maybe you can take further steps of even reaching out to conference organizers and say, I'm an undergraduate student, I have this research finding, and I would like to participate in a conference. Would there be any provision or any scholarship to support my participation? That's one part. Second part is that in moving from, I guess, undergraduate to graduate and securing funding, you really have to demonstrate your scholarship. That's your scholarly capabilities. And that's based on your ability to publish your finding. If your findings are so novel, so unique and compelling, then you should publish it. It should go through a peer review process. And then you could use that as a token to demonstrate to any funding opportunity or any funding outlet that you truly know what you're doing, and that this is something that adds to the scientific discussion on a specific thematic area. I think these are steps, but really the chances are slim, as an undergraduate, for you to get funding directly. Don't close the door on possibilities, by the way. Your advisor may eventually know, some provision from the university. I know those things are very slim. These chances are very slim in Nigerian universities. But I think it's better to keep on trying as though it's impossible to fail. Explore every possibility to get your findings out and build it up, towards a big picture of how it solves a specific problem, either in the scientific, it could be in the general context of, a society, or, a specific gap in a scientific thematic area.
Oh,
I
sounds
hope
great.
this answers the question. I know it's not a direct answer, but trust me, these things are never direct. You have to build them up.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
All right. Thank you, Julius. And then to the next question from me. As students and graduates, how do you think we can build ourselves for international relevance? Because uh, we we have some of our guys who are abroad right now with us here, and they can testify that we still have a long way to go. But then, uh, what do you think, even as folks who are here in Nigeria, some of us, we might not have traveled beyond the shores of Nigeria or Africa. And then, how do you think we can make ourselves relevant internationally on the international scene? Okay, not leaving Nigeria, you can still match with people out there on the international level.
Right. Very good question. And I think I have heard this question a number of times in different quarters. First things first, to manage expectation. This will not happen overnight, okay? Take it from me. It's gonna take upwards of 2 to 4 years for you to even make a decision right now about things you want to do. Probably take 2 to 4 years time horizon for you to get to a place of starting to see fruition of your invested effort. Okay. I understand that this may not be a very, very good news for someone who has graduated, who is ready to launch, so to speak. But still, I believe that it's a very good timing. There's no time that is too late to start to take some actions. And I'll talk about those actions shortly. As an undergraduate student, though, I think you are again in luck today, because now you know that you can hopefully start to take some practical steps. Last year, I think I was having a reflection on where at least where I was at the moment. I think as of during last year, I probably ended up, working across about 20, 22 countries in total, actually like actively going to different countries and working with colleagues and all of that, ranging from the European Union Joint Research Center to universities. And actually, some of you will know Wageningen universities. I work with lots of researchers there as well in the Netherlands. The point here being that I tried to look back and felt like, I arrived at that point of working across multiple countries based on decisions that have been made 10 years back, 15 years back, okay? So first thing that you really need to do is to look beyond, okay? A lot of times I know in Nigeria, and maybe by extension in Africa, there's a tendency for us to say, there's really nothing, even forestry professionals do not have jobs, they don't get funding opportunities, they don't have opportunities to even work or collaborate. And I'd say look beyond. This is a fundamental theme for me. You know, when I started my journey in forestry, I wanted to see what's beyond my horizon. Okay. And in looking beyond, of course, you have to take a couple of steps. Number one is to think about how to engage, okay? Feel free to engage in forums. I think you guys are already at the vantage point. You're connected to IFSA. I started out with not knowing anything that exists beyond my nose, that's beyond my colleagues who are already discouraged and felt downcasted by the fact that they are in forestry. Um, you know, my colleagues who were, actually, I'm not going to mention the person's name. But I remember there was somebody that was 2 years my junior. Like I was in 300 level. He was in 100 level. I think he came in 100 level. And he doesn't want to have anything to do with people in forestry, even though he was a student in forestry. He had been offered forestry, and he believes that it's for losers. It's for people who have no focus and direction in life, and he does not want to even talk to. Actually, when I try to encourage him and say, oh, forestry is a good discipline and all of that, he looks at me like, are you deluded? Are you someone who's suffering from delusion of grandeur? And you simply don't know that I don't belong here. I'm not part of you. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to be a part of you guys. You guys are just a bunch of people who doesn't fall into my league and class. The good news though is that this person had a change thanks to IFSA and all of the things that eventually happened later. But he had a real good turnaround and is doing very well for himself right now. Somebody that I can point to and say I'm very proud of how he has emerged and evolved. So the point here really is that be ready to engage, because that was a turning point for him. That's why I'm citing that example. Suddenly it got to the point, sometimes you have to be stopped too. I think it got to the point where he realized that there's no going to engineering. That's probably, third or fourth year in forestry. He realized that he has to graduate and he's not having a good grade in quote, and life is becoming real. So I think he started to engage in IFSA processes, and that opened him up to an opportunity to, I think, organize events and coordinate with others. And suddenly he had opportunity to, I think, go to a conference, and things started to take shape. I'm trying to bring in this practical example. So when I say engage, it means a lot, okay? Make sure that you improve your communication skills. Nobody wants to offer opportunity to somebody that keeps their mouth shut, somebody that cannot articulate what they need or how they see their discipline, somebody that is not passionate. You would not want to put your money in someone who does not seem to attach any value to what he or she is doing or what he or she has in his hand. Everything is connected. And I think the last part that I wanted to emphasize is collaborate. If you're writing a paper, think of your colleagues that might be interested in that paper and invite them to be a part of it, to contribute. If you're writing an article for IFSA, invite your colleagues to become co-author. Collaborate on events. If you think of an event, something that just like you guys are doing, by the way, you guys are on the right track. Kudos to you. I wish something like this existed back in the days. You guys have collaborated and now you're inspiring more people. You're opening up a platform for more people to be inspired. So I'd say this is the kind of steps, practical steps that need to be taken to get to a place of relevance. Let's see what other things I wanted to mention here. I think I've mentioned publishing. If you publish, even if you can't write scientifically, try to think of articles that you can write that broaches a specific theme or topic. It could even be article on the challenges of forestry students in Nigeria or in Africa.
Wow.
It could be an article on how forest management or forest management principles translates to organizational management principles, or how people have emerged. You could even write case study on people who have emerged from forestry to do something that's totally different from forestry, but yet drawing from the value that forestry offers for you to navigate in a versatile way across different frontiers of human endeavor. So, I mean, it could be anything. That's what I'm trying to say. Don't corner yourself. And then, of course, start to evolve your scientific writing skills, because if you want to go on an academic trajectory of getting master's degree, PhD, you want to write in a way that truly convinces, your benefactors or potential benefactors who would offer you scholarship opportunities, that you truly see things, the way they should be. You see you understand the scientific principles, and you understand the so what of the research or of the academic discipline that you're undertaking. And I think, another point would be do the extra stuff, try to inspire yourself and inspire others with a global view, but also with local impact. Um, I often think of it this way, that we don't do volunteering a lot, in our background. Um, and a lot of times it speaks a volume in your resume. Your resume, by the way, needs to be good and also speaks to this versatility as you evolve in your endeavors. So, volunteer to, I don't know, volunteer to pick the leaves and the papers in the campus, volunteer to lead a group, to advocate for a specific right, volunteer to, I don't know, organize a conference, um, volunteer to, I don't know, just do anything that adds value, essentially. I'm just trying to kind of come up with those ideas on the fly, but you guys can already think individually about, what are the things that I could just even volunteer to do. And of course, it goes on my resume that I did this or I supported this. I helped, I don't know, 100 students, 1,000 forestry students to realign their career priorities by offering, a talk session. And I'm saying that, I guess, although I already have this in your resume. But the point is, as individuals, think of things that you can do that others are not doing, because really that would enhance your international relevance. That would show that you are truly someone who has a global view, but also making local impact. And by the way, I think some of you may know about this student event, this international student event. I found it useful. Actually, it helped me because that was my first step into sort of step outside of Nigeria in terms of, participating in conference and also understanding people of other cultures and background. It's called International Student Week in Ilmenau, ILMENAU. It's in Germany. There are other student week, International Student Week. There's Grestoff, I believe. Grestoff is in Greifswald. Greifswald is still in Germany. I believe there are other events. I think there's one in maybe Rome, Italy. I think it's called ISFIT. That's International Student Festival in Italy or something like that. Anyways, there are a couple of these. You can actually type, on Google, type in International Student Week. Now, I understand that coronavirus has already messed up 2020. So don't think that this is anything 2020. But I think this is something that you should already be thinking about, because I went to ISWI 3 years, actually about 4 years after I found out about ISWI. ISWI event was posted, there was a poster that was put up at a university library back then. Whoever posted it, thanks to the person. And I knew about it, and it was just at the back of my mind. I kept record of it, and I continually checked until I think 4 years later that I got the opportunity to go to go for the event. And like I said, it was my first step into really collaborating beyond Nigeria and really exploring places as well, because your horizons get expanded by stepping out. So anyways, I think I've given enough nuggets there. There's more to unpack, but I'll stop here and let you ask I think one more question, or
yes.
more questions.
All right. Thank you very much. Okay, I think thank God this is streaming live on YouTube and you are recording. So you can always go to check it again, because I will have to see this video all over again to get the full understanding. Now, the last question here is, all right, you spoke about IFSA the other time, and we learned that you were the one who brought IFSA to Nigeria. Now, we would like you to answer the question in two folds. One, what was your motivation? Why do you think it was necessary to have IFSA? That's one question. And bringing IFSA down to Nigeria and being a part of IFSA, how has it helped your career? All right, then, and okay, one thing from the question somebody, okay, we leave that to the question and answer session. Okay. So help us answer this too.
Okay, maybe I should also quickly give a caveat. It looks like we're gonna exceed our time here. I hope there's no one that is having an appointment and needs to drop off the call. If there is, I mean, we can also organize I guess, a follow-up session.
Yeah.
If we cannot exhaust all of the, interest or questions here. But anyways, to your question, Meshach, IFSA, IFSA saved the day. Can I say that? IFSA um, became a pivotal turning point that redefined my experience and my opportunities, actually expanded my horizon altogether. We all need some sort of reference or inspiration as we dream. So even though I had a dream of, forestry being this pitch perfect discipline where everything is possible, and I want to make a good life in it, I was confronted with a very starkly dark reality. And when I started to ask questions and eventually discovered IFSA, by the way, I discovered IFSA, just so you know, because I started going to the cyber cafe. This was a time that you don't have internet on your mobile phone. For those of you who grew up with internet on your phone, you're very lucky. I had to go for overnight, what we call overnight browsing. That's surfing the internet for 8 to 9 hours at a stretch. And I would go and start to search for keywords like, international students in forestry and stuff like that. And suddenly I stumbled on IFSA, and I was like, what is this? So I started to dig further, and I started to ask questions. I thought, oh, this is going to help me and help others. And and I started to have a better world view of forestry. And IFSA eventually endeared me to even the exciting prospect that forestry offers. I remember that I think at the point I eventually subscribed for IFSA newsletter, and we started getting the newsletter. And and I would read the newsletter so religiously. I was inspired by pictures, these things are, so in these days you guys have graphics and lots of media files, and you can share at the nick of time. Those were not existing back then. So the newsletter, which of course we'll probably receive, I guess, once a year or once in 6 months, came with pictures of events that other students in other countries were doing, career opportunities, jobs, scholarships. And suddenly I felt like, oh, there are truly opportunities out there. There are no opportunities in Nigeria. So I have to do more to connect. And one of the things that reeled me in was the exchange program. So I started to think, I think it was in 200 level, and I started to build up this prospect of, number one, we have to be fully registered and pay our association dues to IFSA so that we can be recognized, because that was a requirement or prerequisite to participate in the exchange program, which would come up, well, so normally forestry students, you have to go on IT in 400 level, and I was in 200 level. I knew that, there's a potential to travel outside of Nigeria for internships. So I said, okay, this will be a good path to follow and something to work out for myself and my colleagues. And of course, bring that up as an evidence that truly there's opportunity here for those who are discouraged. Long story short was that we enrolled, and eventually I processed exchange program application. I think I was the EP officer. I was the president and I was the exchange program officer. And interestingly, it worked out that one of our colleagues, which was the first time ever, I think, most likely in FUTA actually at the time, that a 400 level student will go on IT, industrial training outside of a country. So one of my colleagues who I prepared the application for showed him the process, eventually succeeded. Mine did not succeed. This is the way life works. And it went, and it was very, very fulfilling for me that I was able to demonstrate that truly this is a possibility. So through IFSA so far, I've been able to gain, of course, international visibility. I was a CFA, Commonwealth Forestry Association liaison officer at a point. I served as sub-regional coordinator for North Africa. I was a UNFF focal point, so I participated in two United Nations Forum on Forest deliberations in New York at the headquarters of UN in New York. I participated twice, 2009 and 2011. I was a UNFCCC focal point, so I was participating in the multilateral negotiation of UNFCCC, the COP, Convention of Parties, the 16th Convention of Party, that was in Mexico, in Cancun, Mexico. Long story short, actually now I'm serving on the Governing Council of Commonwealth Forestry Association, long story short is that all of those things have happened because of IPSA. So just to let you know that you have a very great opportunity in your hands and you're at a vantage point to do whatever you want to do in terms of making international impact if you truly commit yourself to this race.
All right. Thank you very much. Laulua, please.
Oh, thank you so much, Julius. It's been an amazing session so far. And I must say, I'm blessed by your words and everything you've said so far. Thank you for doing justice to those questions perfectly. I must confess, you really done justice to them. Okay, once again, if you are just joining us, we want to thank you for coming around. I know you've learned one or two things, and I know your notepad is filled already. Yeah, great. And just to inform you that this session is streamed online on Facebook and live on YouTube. And also, we'll be taking the questions now. Because of time, we have compiled a few of them. And then right now, before we move to other things we have on our agenda very quickly, I will hand over to Meshach to do justice to that. And also, I want to tell you that we have our winners already. We have people winning already, and then we have Richard. There's a colleague of ours, Richard. He will be transferring the cash right away to people. And if you have been called as a winner, or if you have been marked as a winner of the cash prize of 5,000 naira, just be ready to drop your account details. Don't worry, we tell you how to do that later on when we announce your name. But then I want to plead with you to wait till the end of this session. All right, Meshach, let's have you.
All right. Now, okay, the first and second question was asked by the same person, and person of Aminat Adishina. Okay, a question, I don't know. Okay, Aminat should be a lady. Okay, that why is forestry not a common course, being that it contributes immensely to the environment. Then you can put everything together. Then the second one is, can forestry students work in a game reserve or national park? Can they work in wildlife?
So thank you for that question, Amina. I think I'll make the answer short here. Forestry is not, I guess, favorably looked upon, especially in Nigerian institution, possibly because in a lot of ways, we do not get our priorities right. And maybe we all are part of the problem in a way as well. Think of it this way: if everybody would be as passionate as Olaoluwa and Meshach, if people would talk about great things they've done and they're achieving, and even support forestry students the way engineering students are supported, or medical students are supported, maybe there'll be more interest around this. Of course, we always attribute things to leadership, right? So if it's kind of a self-reinforcing cycle, which certainly we have a mandate to break out of. I don't think it's a narrative that's going to be changed overnight. I think forestry is still negatively looked upon because people don't see the value. But I also think that the more people emerge out of this background, I think the better you can redefine the outlook. I said this with every sense of, seriousness, because last year I received information that at the convocation, that at the convocation of FUTA, that my name was mentioned a couple of times, and I feel like, how does the name of a forestry student get mentioned a couple of times? Because maybe Julius has done few things, because there was an award that I've won a couple of awards. I was inducted into the Hall of Fame of University of Florida, by the way, it's about 5-6 years ago. The point being that, I think it's a narrative that is prevalent, and it's not going to change overnight. I think it's the onus is on us, you and I, to change this perception and this view. And I think that's the bottom line. Now, can a forestry student work in wildlife or national park? Forestry students, just get this right. If you don't get anything out of this, just write this down. Forestry students can work anywhere. Bottom line.
Amazing.
And I hope I've proven that with my record so far. I'm as young as you are, okay? So I haven't, yeah, I'm still navigating life, but I think I've shown to an extent that truly, as a forestry student, you can go anywhere and be whatever you want to be. You can make impact and still come back to forestry. Guess what? Tomorrow I might as well still be the person that accepts to be, you know, a professor in forestry, because I studied forestry. I had a PhD in soil and water science. I wanted to understand the connectivity of forest, agriculture, soils on which forests grow. That's a passion. That's a goal. And I think I've achieved this. And you know, I think the sky is, actually, they always say the sky is the limit. No, there are no limits to forestry students. And that's the answer to your question, I think.
All right, that's great. Okay, yeah, the question 4 is how to join IFSA. I think unless we answer that during the IFSA presentation. Okay, so I'll move to the question 5, which is by Oloshe Ogoji. Okay, the question 4 was asked by Bamidele Bisola Rebecca, but this question 5 is by Oloshe Ogoji. Can you submit research to journal on your own as a graduate? Can you just find a journal, say you want to submit your research paper, or you need the help of a professor or probably a lecturer?
Well, actually, you don't need well, you need somebody to contribute, somebody to guide you, because you've never published before, most likely. So any student can, I mean, any researcher, even you can have your own independent research, and, you know, you find, let's say you find out that studying forestry is the cure to COVID, and that's a joke. You know, whatever you find out, it's an intellectual property of yours. So you can publish in any journal. But certainly, I think there's a place for mentorship. There's a place also, for example, if you conducted your research with support and funding from your supervisor, it's going to be frowned upon for you to just go off the tangent and publish that research without the approval of your supervisor or your advisor. So essentially, you should walk through this process in the proper way. You know, if somebody contributed, if somebody can't contribute, make sure you collaborate with them and get their approvals before you submit to a journal. Now, you probably want to ask a question about the cost of publishing. That's a totally different subject altogether. Yes, it may be costly, and maybe that's where your supervisor comes in, because if he sees your research as truly compelling, they might be able to get some university resources to publish. You guys may be able to contact the publisher and say, okay, we have this, but we don't have the money to publish. Maybe you can grant us some scholarship or tell us how we can get access to reduced fee. Or, you know, you might even think that, okay, I'll publish in low impact journal, also put together, I don't know, $700, $500 to publish. Actually, don't think about the limitation, think about the possibilities. I've seen people that someone else pays for their publication because it's truly compelling. IFSA, by the way, just connecting this to IFSA. So IFSA, I was probably one of the least likely students to succeed, you know, in terms of the whole spectrum of having resources, being inspired and all of that, you know, during my undergraduate days. So I didn't have the money, you know, really to enroll IFSA, but guess what? I started thinking about the possibilities. It took me 1.5 years to actually get someone that could pay for the membership fee of IFSA. 1.5 years, believe it or not, because I didn't have a bank account. We don't have any bank account, access to transfer. There was no PayPal. Now you guys can just take your MasterCard and pay for things, and, you know, they charge you at international rate. Those things do not exist back then. So think of the odds that are stacked against the possibility. So now things can go faster and quicker. Just think of the possibilities, and I think you can be limitless.
All right, that's awesome.
Meshach, how many questions do we have?
Just one. We have one to go. Just one question. All right, by Francis Damian, though you already answered it during while you were speaking, but I'll still ask you, say, is success in forestry based on impressive undergraduate results?
Okay, bottom line, succeed by all means. Make sure. well, I mean, all means positive, okay?
Yeah.
But yes, I think it's one of the boxes you should check. You know, don't get a third class. Now, be as it may, I've seen firsthand someone who graduated with, I think, third class or a pass from forestry, and is really, really doing great. I mean, doing exceptionally great right now. I'm not gonna mention his name because I think you guys might know him as well. but also you have a story to tell, right? You want to put yourself in a position where you are more likely to be favored for a scholarship. Nobody gives scholarship typically to someone who has third class. They always, even the jobs that you prospect for those of you who have graduated, you always see something like, you cannot even apply except if you have 2-1 or if you have first class. So I would say, you should try. It's your responsibility. And I understand your reality. Sometimes there's frustration in the system. Can I give an example, even though the time is really running out? But I'll give a quick example so that at least you will know that all things are possible. My first semester in forestry in FUTA, and I think it's the first time I'll be sharing this with a larger audience. My first semester was quite bleak, okay? Because I think we finished the first semester. I thought I'd got all my T's crossed and all my I's dotted. And I think our results were typically delayed. So it was delayed till like the first day or one day to the day we were going to start exams for the second semester. And our results was released. And guess what? I saw a result that till today, I believe it was not my results. I had a GPA of, I think, 1.86, okay?
Oh.
And that was one day to second semester exam. Think of what would happen to my psyche. I was totally, in quote, messed up, okay? And I remember that second semester exam was even worse. The result was worse. I think I had a GPA of 1.53. But guess what I did? I said, I don't think this is my result, but the only way I could prove it is by excelling subsequently, okay? So I said, here it is, Julius. You can't have any GPA less than 4.0 till you graduate out of FUTA. So guess what? That's what happened. 8 semesters in a row. GPA was consistently, I think, probably 4.2 and above. And I eventually graduated with a GPA of, I think, 3.86 or 3.89. Okay. So this is just to give you a quick picture. I know that I've glossed over what I did, including reading on trees. I really mean that. I climbed a tree to read. But the point is, I was determined that I cannot afford to graduate with a 2.2. I cannot have a double whammy where people are already looking down on me because I'm in forestry. And then on top of that, I'm at a disadvantaged position because I have a 2.2 or I had a third class degree. So anyways, even if you graduated with third class, I hope I've spoken to you as well. It's not like it's a done deal. There are opportunities, there are things you can do because I've seen people do it. I'm not saying this. I know a personal friend who has done it and it has worked for him, even though he had third class. But if you're an undergraduate, do all you can to make sure that you put yourself in a more likely pathway to be favored or to be considered as a favorable candidate for opportunities and scholarship. I think your life will be easier and better for it. That's it.
All right. Thank you very much. I think we move to IFSA's presentation shortly now.
Yeah. Right before IFSA, Julius, I'm aware that we have some guys joining us from other parts of the world. At least I know a few. Fisola is joining us from Copenhagen, University of Copenhagen. He's currently online. And then I know a few other guys. I know Jane is joining us from Copenhagen too. Please, can you say one or two things to them? Those Nigerian students or African students abroad, how they can, what do you have to tell them? What do you have to tell them very, very quickly before we move on?
Well, so maybe first things first is to acknowledge them, to say thank you guys for the great work you're doing and how you're making, how you're inspiring others and you're making us proud as well. So thank you, and I give kudos to you. I should also recognize that the struggle is real. I will not by any means take away from the fact that you are navigating uncharted waters for you, experiencing new cultures, experiencing new educational systems, and maybe even facing lots of uncertainties in terms of what comes next. How would you get a job? Are you going to go back to Nigeria? Do you have to go back? Should you plan on advancing? So bottom line, maybe a key nugget that I should give to you. I don't think one thing will summarize my whole journey so far, but a key nugget that I should give to you is that you should focus on adding value to yourself progressively. Starting outside of Nigeria certainly is a benchmark, or it's something that is an advantage, right? But also there's much more to life and to really succeeding beyond, being wherever you are. I think you should not back down on leadership opportunities. I think you should not shy away from, for example, even learning new language, because it might help you to integrate and to also demonstrate that you are truly advancing, yourself. I think last thing is you should not shy away from exploring disciplines that are outside the confines of what you're studying. I just gave a clear example of how I stole the pathway of GIS. So essentially, maybe I should give you this picture so that it can be clearer. Essentially, I had 2 master's degree, and you can imagine how hard this must have been. So I had a master's project that was focused on wood engineering, and I was testing the mechanical strength of wood properties, the shear strength, the perpendicular stress, the parallel stress, and all of that. And at the same time, I was doing a project. I started personally a GIS project that was focused on network-based proximity of wood processing industries to forest resources. So I completed both, and believe it or not, GIS opened up the pathway to the next thing that I did after my PhD. I was talking to a guy at a career fair, and by the way, that's a nugget. Please go to job fairs, career fairs in your university. And I was talking to a guy, so just back to the example that was mentioned, that was going to cite. I was talking to a guy at a job career fair, at a job fair or at a career fair, and he said, "What do you do?" And I said, "I'm studying soil and water science. I'm getting a PhD." And he said, "What do you really do?" And I said, "I also work on GIS. GIS can help you to optimize, decisions relative to locations, allocation of people, resources, and all of that." And he said, "Oh, we're looking for people in an analytical team." And guess what? That was how I became a compliance advisor in a Fortune 500 financial company, even though I had no background experience in finance. And I had no experience in corporate management and all of that. I was working with about 146 financial advisors across the United States. The point is, diversify. Think of how other skills can complement what you have, and I think you can do the impossible.
All right, great. I think we'll go on to Alex now.
Alex, are you online?
Yes, I'm online. Good afternoon.
Alex, can we have you?
Yes.
We have limited time. Yeah, I think I have your slide. Let me share your slide so that we can get started.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. While I'm waiting for Israel to share the slide, I really want to thank Dr. Julius for coming on board now, and it has really been a wonderful experience to hear from him, and I know of other students too for this opportunity. On behalf of IFSA, I want to thank you. The IFSA president extends his greeting to you and all the participants of this meeting. He is unavoidably, he left because of an IFSA board meeting, and also for your service to IFSA. I went through the records and I find your information. Israel, please help me slide the PowerPoint.
Yeah, I think it's on now. Meshach, can you see?
Yes.
Yes.
Slide it. Slide it. Put it on slide.
Okay.
Yes, this afternoon I'm going to be talking to us about a project we are about starting. We already started at the JTF. I'm waiting for it. So I want to thank everybody once more for joining and for staying through up to this time. For those who have joined from Nigeria and abroad, I'm really very grateful. And for those who watch this movie, this clip by the end of the day, thank you too for joining. Israel, please slide.
Yeah.
You can just continue, Alex. You can just continue.
Okay, I have it.
Okay. Now. It's not showing. Yeah. Okay. Let me continue. Yes.
Meshach, can you see the slide, Meshach?
I can see it. I can see it.
Okay, Alex, please go ahead.
Yes, but please can you put it in PowerPoint? Okay,
What?
I can't see it from my end.
You can't see it at all?
Okay, fine. I'm able to see it now. Better. Yes, I'm going to be talking to us on the Young African Forestry Professionals Publication Project. What we want to do is to change the narrative of forestry profession in Africa. Unfortunately, about 20 years ago, 1999, the perception of failures is still much the same with what many students pass in the year 2020. And this is a sad news, but this is another opportunity for us to tell about our story. Here's the next slide, please. Next slide.
Okay. Can you see it?
I think the network is not simulating the slide very fast.
Okay, Meshach, can you
when we
see
have
the
the
next
issue.
slide? Can you see the second slide?
No, not yet.
I'm on next slide now. The slide 2. Can you see it?
No.
Okay.
Okay, let me continue. I know what I was to say. Yes.
Okay.
This project, what we want to do is this. For the next slide, we're going to, I was just to quote Samuel Adeyeju, or no, Samuel from UBC, who fortunately, Dr. Julius Adewoku was one of those who inspired him.
Yeah, Ayanleye Samuel.
Yes, but please, I don't know why it's not showing.
I have the slide up already. I don't know, maybe the network.
Okay, maybe you stop sharing, then start sharing again, please.
Okay. Okay, can you see my screen now?
Yes, I started screen sharing. Okay. Minimize the PowerPoint. It seems the PowerPoint is the one showing to us, not the slide. Not the slide. Slide it again. We can't see the slide. Oh, okay, fine. Just come there and slide.
Yeah, I'm doing that.
Slide. F5.
Yeah. Quiet slide. Okay, great. Isn't slide 2. Sorry, my PC is. Oh, Meshach, can you do it from your end?
Click resume.
Yeah.
Click resume slideshow.
Okay. Can you see, sir?
Olalua,
Yeah.
maybe you should try to enable editing.
Okay. Sorry for the glitch. Okay. Can you see the screen now?
Okay. Slide it now.
Can you see it? I'm on the second slide now.
Yes. Fine. Yes, good. I read and quote. It is no more news that forestry is not very glamorous in some African countries, including Nigeria. But getting to a developed country that values environmental sustainability, like Canada, has changed my overall perspective about the forest sector. It is a well-respected piece. The country generates more revenue for the sector. This is Samuel Oluwafemi Ayeleye during a webinar on the WhatsApp group last year. Samuel is currently a Master's of Science student for candidate at the University of British Columbia, Canada. The next slide. Yes, one of the things we need to know is that Africa is the world's youngest continent as of 2019. Almost 60% of the population in 2019 is under the age of 25 years. That is, we have quite a lot of youth, and we need to create jobs for them. We need to create opportunities for them. Otherwise, we keep having problems, insecurity, and other ones. Now, there is a need to raise awareness of the career opportunities that forestry education could offer to young people and to counter existing negative challenges. Those pictures at the background are that of the Northern African Economic in 2018. Yes, what do we want to do with this research? With this research, our aim is that is a novel research approach because it's an African solution to African problem. We believe in this African desire slogan of the AU, that is the African Union. And what this project is aimed on three things. One, we're going to share success stories of young African forest professionals. We're also doing a simple research on forest education in Africa. We are going to be researching to know more about tertiary institutions of forestry around the continent. And lastly, we're also going to be reviewing networking organizations that forestry students can benefit from. Yes, today it's more like many of these projects. If you look at it, Dr. Julius Adeoko shared his own personal stories, and that have quite inspired a lot of us. Two is that for the networking organizations, he particularly mentioned that it's a safety. And now looking at the final product. The final product of this is that we need more people. We're going to be publishing a book to enable people to make more informed choices about careers in forestry. And that there are really opportunities that exist in this sector. For example, we're going to be distributing the hard copies to all institutions offering forestry in the whole African continent. And this is a mega project. We're not sure if any have been done in this similar level before. Also, the electronic copies will be available. If you go online, you can find success stories of those who studied at grade, those who studied at something else, but you can hardly find a book on success stories of forestry professionals. So this is what we aim to do. And the last slide. Yes, this project, the YAFP project, that is the Young African Forestry Publications Project, is generously funded by the IEFO Specials Program for Development of Capacities, that is the IEFO SPPC, and the joint IEFO Task Force on Forest Education, and supported by the International Forest Association. You can learn more about the project from our website, pizza.net/IFO Africa. And the project coordinator is Julian Ashing from Kenya, who is my deputy on the JTL. As a way of maybe introduction now, my name is Alex Notigi, IFSA coordinator on the IFO IFSA Joint Task Force on Forest Education. And I'll be the lead researcher for this project. Currently, we have made an open call for a student researcher to help in this project too. And we have received quite a lot of impressive applications. And for all the students listening to me now, the videos, at the time we're going to contact people again to provide us your success stories and see how we can feature your stories in this publication. No matter your level, whether you're a student, you're a graduate, you are a recent employee, you're trying to gather as much success stories as possible around Africa. So we can tell the African story. The foresters are also successful. The foresters also make a career. Foresters make an headway. Foresters are able to make a living in studying forestry. These are the things we want to do. I want to thank everybody for listening, and I will be glad to answer questions about the project. Thank you.
All right.
Oh, great. Thank you, Alex. It was nice hearing from you, and thank you for keeping us abreast of what the happenings in IFSA. Thank you. Okay. Meshach, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay, great. Right now, the next thing on our agenda. Okay, I want to thank you again for staying to this point. We are grateful. And then I want to let you know again that we are currently live streaming on YouTube, and also we are on Facebook. So thank you once again for joining us. I want to inform you that we have 5 winners already of our cash prize. We have the names written already, and we are looking for 5 more to go. That means you can still participate. Don't worry. We have a way of knowing your participation level. So thank you Thank you. Okay, right now I'll be calling on Richard. Richard is a team member and is doing great. Richard, can we have you take the next session? And what this session is about is that we want to hear from our audience. We want to hear from them before we finally wrap up this program. To you, Richard.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay. I want to sincerely appreciate you all for joining this meeting, and I'm very sure we have all learned one or two things from Dr. Julia's story and other story that has been shared by Alex Onatunji. So we would like to get, as Olalu has said, we'd like to get your views about certain questions. But before we start that, I would like to point out a few things here, like rules before we start asking the questions. The first thing is, if you want to answer like a question, you have to raise your hand using the raise hand button on Zoom.
Yes.
Yeah, so when you raise your hand, we can unmute you or you can unmute yourself. And the way we want this to go is that we don't want two people to speak at a time. So we want one person to speak at a time. And doing that means that we all have to mute ourselves while the person is speaking. And the last thing here is before you speak, we'd like you to introduce yourself to.
I guess his network has gone.
Oh.
Hello,
Richard,
can you hear me now?
Yeah, we
Yes.
can.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Thank you. So that takes us to the questions. The first thing I have here is I would like to hear from the participants. Actually, I want to know what motivated you to join the meeting in the first place, and how you think you can impact others. Yeah, from everything you have learned today.
Okay, Meshach, I think you need to see people raising up
Okay,
their
yes,
hand.
I can see them. I can see them.
Please, as soon as you recognize them, please just.
All right. I'm unmuting Gladys. Gladys, can we hear you? Gladys? Gladys HMB.
Gladys, 1, 2, 3, go.
I'm here. Good afternoon, everyone.
Okay, great.
All right.
Hello.
We are
Please go
listening to
ahead.
you.
Yeah, good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Thanks for the opportunity. You asked the question, what motivated me to come to participate in this seminar? Very interesting. Like, let me say I'm a student, a forestry student of 300 level, and it has been a major challenge because I actually didn't apply for forestry, but I was given forestry. So I don't know what to use my forestry career to do. Like the certificate I would get from forestry, I don't know what to use it to do. So I decided to join this platform to learn a lot of things, and it has been inspiring. Like I learned a lot of things. Some days back, I had been browsing the net, no career opportunities in forestry, and what really amazed me this afternoon is that as a forester, you can work anywhere and you can impact life anywhere. That's very amazing. I will use this, what I have learned, I will relate it with my mates because a lot of us, 99% of the class, don't even have idea of forestry before we came into class. Like we didn't apply for it. But now with this idea, I think we can build something up. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Okay. I don't know who is TechnoSpark. All right. I'm unmuting you. TechnoSpark 4 here. I don't know your name, but you are the next person I'm seeing his hand or her hand. All right. If you are the one that is Techno Spark, let's hear you.
Okay, sorry for that. My name is Yusuf Abdulaziz Farouk. I
Okay.
am a graduate of Forestry and Wildlife from University of Ilorin. I would say my motivation has always been wonderful studying forestry. Actually, I didn't apply for forestry, but the fact that I was offered forestry and I met quite a lot of people that motivated us, that inspired us right from the undergraduate level, like my lecturer, Dr. Babalola Fola from the University of Ilorin, and also my colleagues too, like Alex. So he can testify to that. Like he was so quite helpful then that it motivated most of us to take up some challenges and take up the leadership position. So I more had to learn more and to build more and add value to myself and also to my other people, to share what I know about forestry education and also about the prospect in forestry.
All
So
right.
I so glad to be part of this this roundtable talk to learn more about the ideas and to go out there to share about what I learn now to people.
Okay, thank you.
By
Thank you, Yusuf. Sorry to cut you. Thank
all
you.
right, very much.
We really need to move on to the next question. Richard, can we have you?
All right, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much to those that answered the first question. The next question I have here is, how has the webinar impacted you going forward? As Dr. Julius has said, I'm very sure I would say you are lucky to attend this kind of webinar where you hear firsthand information from people who have actually succeeded in this field. So based on that, how has the webinar impacted you going forward? Yeah, moving from here. So where do you go from here? Yes.
All right. I have Dari Adiagbo raising his hand. Dari Adiagbo, let's have you. Dari Adiagbo. All right.
Yes, thank you, Mishak. Can you hear me?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. I'd like to greet everybody. Good afternoon and well done. So my name is Daria Diagbo. I'm a graduate of forestry from Ekiti State University, and I'm currently serving with IFSA as one of the sub-commissioner for carbon and sustainability. It's a great opportunity to join in the webinar, and I'm straight to the question: how has the webinar impacted me going forward? It's just about what I intend to gain from the webinar, and it's about capacity building for me. It's about bridging the knowledge gap we have. It's about networking. And our speaker, Mr. Julius, stressed more on these things and how we can harness opportunities. And something key to it I see is no matter the level you are, keep on improving. Like there are challenges to every possibilities, because I have a specific area to my own area, if I could put it that way. But with what he said you can keep improving through articles, through publishing and the likes. So these are things I believe going forward will be of great use and help in moving us forward. So I hope I've done justice to that.
All right. The next person is Adekugbe Oluwaseun. Adekugbe Oluwaseun.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity and the privilege to actually talk and to be here. And thank you for the organizing committee too for this great webinar. Yeah, because I have learned a lot today. For me, I chose forestry as a course, but it got to a time. Hello? It got a time when I graduated and I had to think about it again, that okay, now I'm here. I'm a recent graduate of FUTA, Federal University of Technology, Akure. So I had to think about it that, okay, sure, now you're a graduate, what's next? And then this came up. I was like, oh, I have to be a part of this program because it's an opportunity to actually learn from other graduates and people that have gone far in forestry. And today I've learned so much from Julius and even some of our organizers that they don't really know, but they've actually imparted me in one way or the other. I've learned, and one keyword that I learned from him today that I could be able to actually tell anyone, even my younger colleagues, is that whatever you study, whatever career you have, you know you are working towards a goal, and that goal is to success. Now, I know that I'm working towards a goal to succeed. No, it's not about forestry right now. You're not looking at it as, I'm not looking at forestry as a lesser course or anything, but a goal to succeed. And then he has told us about how we can actually do all those things we need to do to succeed, to diversify, to network, to be the best wherever we are, because we are working towards goals. And he also mentions about applying for scholarship and looking beyond where we are now to where we are going, voluntary, all this volunteering activities and all that. So I'm very grateful, and I've learned a lot on what I need to do right now to
thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Richard?
Okay.
Richard?
Yeah. Thank you so much, Dari and Oluwaseun. So I would like to move to the next question. This might actually relate more with people in forestry field, but if you are not in forestry, if you are not in anything environmental management or forestry, you can also hear your views too, and we'll make justice to that. How does your course of study or current career contributes to one of the three pillars of sustainability, talking about the environmental, economic, and the social aspect?
Okay, I think I'm seeing Olumoye. Olumoye? Olumoye? Are you there? Okay. If
please,
Olumoye,
let's move on. Let's move on.
If Olumoye is not there, and Joseph, Anne Joseph, are you there? And Joseph?
Yes,
Hello,
I'm here.
Okay, please respond.
All right.
Thank you very much for this platform. I really appreciate for giving me the opportunity. So answering the question, how has this helped me in one way or the other? Last year, I think I started the journey of trying to diversify. With the help of Dr. Macaulay, I've been able to try to see myself in all fields at the same time. So I started diversifying into environmental geosciences. So my first degree is in applied geology. I graduated last year, 2019. So recently I've been trying to impute myself in one way or the other in climate action. And I've developed interest in carbon sequestration. So far I've tried to learn a lot of things on carbon and how it has affected the world generally, greenhouse gases and everything. So this has really helped me. The platform has really helped me to see more views in forestry too, like how forestry can also help in carbon sequestration, how it can impact in also making the climate better and more sustainable. And from I think the goal of sustainability, I think SDG goal 13, sorry, that is environmental sustainability relating to that. So that's really given me more insight about that. So I'm ready to learn from all of you so that I'll be able to give more impact in environmental geosciences.
All right. Thanks, Anne. Thanks. All right. I think the last person I'm going to be choosing here is God's Love, Abo. God's Love, Abo. God's Love, are you there?
God's Love.
Good afternoon, all.
Okay,
Okay.
Good afternoon.
Please go ahead.
Hello.
Hello,
Please go
Goslov,
ahead.
we are with you.
The organizers. I want to say a big thank you to the organizers of this webinar and all who have presented peace to us. You see, talking about the question, you see, my course, Forestry, has really talking about the area of environment in that area. See, most especially there is this piece I wrote yesterday, being a World Environmental Day, and it's it has a connection on forest to environment. So when talking on environment, definitely.
All right, Goslov, please, I will have to mute you. I will have to mute you. All right, I will have to mute you. Thank you. Hello, Goslov, thank you. I'll have to mute you because of our time. We need to move fast. Thank you. All right, Richard, please, the last phase of this. Richard.
Okay, thank you very much, Meshach. The last question I have here is, can anyone give a few points of personal development mentioned by Dr. Julius Adewapo?
All right, anyone? Mukhtar Abdul Quadri. A few points. Please answer that question exactly. Don't worry about the greetings. That question exactly.
Yeah.
Mukhtar.
Okay, so moving to the question directly, I think the first thing is working hard. He said we should publish journals, read a lot, then also write a lot, articles, journals, and things like that. Do research a lot. Then the next one is diversify. As a forestry student, there are a lot of career paths you can take. So you have to diversify your paths. Then the next is volunteer. You have to. It's not just about making money. It's about making a difference. So you have to really key into how forestry can help you make a difference to the world and to the planet generally. So I think those were
All right.
the
Yeah.
ones.
Thank you, Mukhtar. We appreciate. All right. I think the last person I'm going to pick here is Adaramoye.
Hi, Adaramoye, are you there?
Are you there? Adaramoye.
Adaramoye.
Yes, I'm with you. Good afternoon.
Okay. All right.
Yes, my name
Straight
is
to the question.
Okay, I'm Adaramoye Israel. To answer your question, please permit me to go retrospect a bit to answer the question on Julius Adewapo. In retrospect, how he has really impacted, he has really spoken on capacity building. And I think it's very important. It's something that we are seeing the effect today. So what I've learned so far, although I joined you guys very late, is that we try to develop ourselves. Just do it with passion, and then excellence will follow you. Just do it like that. In retrospect, I remember that he came around to our class sometimes ago, 2016, and then he challenged us to tell us that it is not until you make a first class that you can make headway in forestry, that you should just develop yourself and then things will work out for you. And exactly that's what we have seen today in my life and then in other examples of people that I've seen. So that's just the little I'm going to say. Thank you very much.
All right. The last person I'm going to be picking is Olumoye Aduragbemi. Olumoye Aduragbemi. Olumoye Aduragbemi.
Good afternoon.
Okay.
Good afternoon.
Straight to the question, please. Thank you.
Okay, my name is Olumoye Aduragbemi, a student of Federal University of Technology, Akure, FUTA. So my question is, I want to ask, okay, now as a student, now maybe probably you have a project, like you have some project that you feel that, okay, it's something that is a major problem in your area, your vicinity. Let's say, for instance, you see needs where, okay, let me say deforestation, the problem which it causes within the environment. and you have what's it called? You have like a solution, or you know what you can actually do to solve the problem. So, and maybe you use that as your final year project. After you have done that, how can you make it known? Because for the fact remains that, okay, let's say okay, you use Lagos as a case study and you are here in Akure. So how can you publish that? How can you make it known that, okay, people in Lagos can get reference to it, and maybe outside Lagos, because the problem is, let's say, a worldwide problem. So that's my question.
All right. Olumoyi Aduragbemi, please, you can message myself or Olaoluwa to answer that question after now. We are done with the question and answer period. This is just a response to the question asked by Richard. All right, please, we don't want to take time. That's why you can reach Olaoluwa or myself. We're going to explain that to you. At least we have papers in motion. All right. So thank you very much. So I think we are done with that phase. So we announce the winners. But before that, we'd like to present something to our speaker, the person of Dr. Julius. We have a small award for him, a digital award that we're going to be presenting to him. I don't think is online again, but we're going to present it no matter what. Okay, so I'm going to be sharing the award now, okay, for us to see. Okay, can we all see it?
No.
Can we see it?
Yes. Yes.
Can we see it? All right.
Yes.
This is the award we have for him.
Yes, you can see it.
So
yes, you can see.
Wow,
so
congratulations, sir.
All right. So it will be shared. We are going to send this award to our emails. So everyone, it is mandatory that you post it on your Facebook account to celebrate him for an award of relevance.
You can tag him too.
Okay. Yeah, you have to tag him too. Tag him, tag us.
We don't have him. We don't have him on Facebook.
It does not mean just search for Julius Adewopo. It will automatically see it. Do you understand? So we're going to share. We're going to share this award with everyone so that we can see. In our emails, please share it online. You will receive an email after now. Please share it online. So thank you very much. I'll leave the announcement to Adetula Olaoluwa to handle. All right, you can take over. Laoluwa.
Okay, thank you. Meshach, please, I want you to mute yourselves so that we can get along and so that we can hear you properly. Please, can you mute yourselves? Can you mute yourselves, please? Meshach, can you hear me?
Right on.
Great. And before we make our announcement, we would love to appreciate everyone who has been online. We want to say we are grateful. Thank you for joining us. The first edition was great. This edition too is superb. I must appreciate our guest, Dr. Julius Adewopo, for answering some of the important questions. Okay, I also want to appreciate our team members who they've been working hard for the past close to over a month now to get this done. And thank you for the. I wouldn't want to mention the person's name now. The person who is giving out the cash prize now. You know, we have a sum of 100,000 naira, and then today we'll be giving out 50,000 naira to 10 participants. And then I know you have received the essay instructions. Please send in your essay in a PDF file. I know you have the instructions. Send in your essay latest this coming Friday. So once again, thank you so much. I really appreciate you. And please, when we mention your name, and then
Send a personal message to Richard. Your account number. Send your account number as a personal message to Richard if you hear your name.
Please, if you hear your name, please, you need to stay online. You need to stay online. Please send Richard your account details. If you hear your name, I'll emphasize again. Please send Richard your account details. Personal message. Don't drop your message on the public account details on the public group, please. Please send Richard a private message. And Richard, could you please raise up your? Could you please give your hands? Please, Richard.
Just go on with the announcement.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, please send your account details to this Richard, and you need to stay online to confirm the receipt of the money. Please, we'll be doing the transfer right away. We need you to confirm that you've got the cash sum of 5,000 naira, and then next week Saturday, hopefully, unfailingly, we hope to make announcement of the winners of our 10,000 naira for personal development. Okay. Okay, right now I think I have the list here. Okay. All right. Meshach, could you please mute everyone?
Just go ahead. Just go ahead,
okay.
Please. Go ahead.
Okay. Please, I want you all to know that the winners now are the people who are staying to the end of this program. Like the people we have right now, you know, it's possible you might want to justify that you are a winner, but you are not with us right away. You are not staying to the end of the program. But we are trying to be fair enough for everyone to win. And the people we are giving the money to are the people we have right now, out of the criteria we have used. Okay. The first person on the list, and okay, sorry, I'm trying to get my list. Okay. Okay, great. The first person on the list is Anne Joseph. Anne Joseph. Anne, if you can hear me, please send your account details to
Richard.
Richard. Please stay online till the end of this program, please, so that you can confirm the receipt of the cash sum. And Richard and Joseph. And Joseph. Mesha, could you please unmute? Okay.
Just go ahead. Just go ahead.
Okay.
Just go ahead.
And the second person is Temiloluwa Adebusui, based on activeness, and Joseph was chosen based on attendance. He was part of those who joined very early. And based on activeness, we must commend Temiloluwa Adebusui. She's been active on the chat box. Temiloluwa Adebusui, please, if you can hear me, send your account details to Richard. And also, we have number 3, we have Aminat Adeshina. Aminat Adeshina. Aminat Adeshina. Please send your account details to Richard right away. Number 4, we have Oloche Igoji. Oloche Igoji. Sorry.
Oloche is no more online, so that means he's no more qualified.
Okay, Oloche is no more online. Okay. I think our team members, please get me another name to replace Oloche. Is no more online. Then the next person, number 4, is okay. The next person is Francis Damian. Francis Damian. Please check if he's online.
He's online. He's online. He's online.
Okay.
He's online.
Okay, great. Francis Damian, please send your account details to Richard. Please, let's do it right away. Let's do it right away. Okay. And then the next person, we have Gladys Ejembi. Ejembi. Gladys Ejembi.
Gladys Ejembi. She's online. She's online.
Please send your account details to Richard right away. Please, if I've asked you to send your account details, please, you need to stay online to let us know if you have received the money. Gladys, again, please send your account details in a private message to Richard. And the next person is Adekugbe Oluwaseun. Adekugbe Oluwaseun. Mesha, please check it.
Yeah, she's online. She's online.
Okay, great. Please send your account details to Richard right away. Then the next person is Mukhtar Abdul Qadri. Mukhtar Abdul Qadri. Mukhtar.
Online. He's online. He's online. He's online.
Okay, Mukhtar, please send your account details. Okay, the next person we have Dare Adeagbo. Dare Adeagbo. Please, if you are, please check if it's online. Dare
yes,
Adeagbo.
Dare Adeagbo. Yeah, Dare Adeagbo is online.
Okay, please send your account details to Richard. And then, okay, we still have 2 more. We have Israel Adaramoye. Please, if you are online, please send it.
Yeah, Israel Adaramoye is online.
Okay, please send your account details to Richard. Please, we want you to know that we are not giving audio money. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. And to the last person, is Oloche Goji? Is he online? Please check again.
Oloche is not online.
Okay. Please, we need a replacement now. Oguntime Jumoke, please, you need to respond to my private message now. Please, let us have the last person. Oguntime Jumoke. Please let us have the last person. Meshach, could you please check? Could you please check? Could you please check the group for the last person?
Yeah. All right. I think the person we can is Peter Olowofoyeku. Peter Olowofoyeku.
I don't think he's online. Okay, he's online. Yeah,
he's online. He's online.
Yeah.
Peter Olowofoyeku.
I think he was replaced earlier. He was the first person to enter this group, but thank God he's back online now. We could have given the slot to another person. Peter, please, please send your account details to Richard right now. Please, if we have mentioned your name, please, you need to stay online. Please stay online. Please stay online. We need you to confirm the receipt of the payment. Please, if you have got the cash transfer of 5,000 naira, please just unmute yourself and tell us received.
Hi, Olaoluwa. I just sent some of 5,000 naira to Joseph, also Temiloluwa, and Aminat.
Okay, we have
So please, can these people confirm that they received the sum of 5,000 naira? Thank you.
Who is that?
Yes.
Who is that?
Aminat, I've received the cash of 5,000 naira.
Okay, thank you.
Hello.